Tonight on Behind the Details with Chelsea, we're getting to sit down with Jillene Gedmin from Superior Products. As a professional detailer, it's important to have products that not only work, but are also very affordable. And Superior Products, I have found, is one of the most affordable and effective brands within the detailing industry. So I'm excited to get to know more about how their company started, how they actually make their products, some secret tips on how to get the most out of them in the future. So let's go ahead and get started with the show. Good evening, everyone. We are live, and I am so honored to have my friend Jillene from Superior Products on the show. Thank you guys all for tuning in, and hopefully you are going to be very active in the chat, and hopefully I will actually be able to answer the questions that you guys have. I know we have a lot of people already posting some questions, but this is just a great opportunity for you guys to ask Jillene questions about Superior Products, about their chemicals, maybe some tips. I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of intro. Superior Products is a family-owned business. I've been using you guys' products for years now. I've done several videos over on my YouTube channel, Attention to Details with Chelsea. They've become kind of a staple in my detailing shop, not only because they work, but they're actually like really affordable. And so I know that's something that a lot of people are constantly looking for, is like a brand that they can like just become really qualified and comfortable with. And so I thought that you guys would be a great fit to kind of come on. I want to know a little bit more about how you guys kind of started your company, how you guys make your products. So Jillene, thank you for coming on the show.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
So I think right off the start, I've known you guys, let's see, I've been in business for about 7 years, and I think I've been using you guys for about 6 years. But can you take me back to when you guys started the business? Like, how are you connected with the business?
Yeah, definitely. I know you've always been a supporter from the beginning, so we really appreciate that. And some of your videos were they were just great. And I remember being in the office and seeing the videos come through and being like, "Oh my gosh, like she does such a great job, describing the products." But so thank you for always supporting us. We
My
appreciate that.
pleasure.
Most of our fan base is from word of mouth. So
Hmm.
anybody that can talk about our stuff normally has good things to say.
Hmm.
My mom and dad, and stop me if I start rambling because I don't think that this really ever has been discussed. So I'm sure there probably are a lot of questions out there as to what we do, how we do it, how we got
Hmm.
started. So I'll try to do the Cliff Notes version because,
I
girl, I
like
could
juice.
talk
Feel
about
free to
it
give me all the tea.
for hours. You don't want all the tea, trust me. So my mom and dad actually bought the company when I was around 10, 8, 9, 10 years old, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Uh,
What
my
was it
dad,
before they bought it?
it was a chemical manufacturing
Okay.
business. We are located at that time, it was in East Alton, Illinois.
Okay.
We are now in South Roxana, Illinois, which is about 30 miles east of St. Louis, Missouri. So we're Southern Illinois. That's where we manufacture all of our products.
Okay.
And my dad was an accountant, and my mom was a realtor. And so there came a time where the company that my dad was working for wanted him to relocate to New York. And it wasn't really in the cards for us. I'm an only child. So all of our family was here and they weren't going to take the baby away. So they just started looking. And, my dad was always wanting something of his own that he could take and he could really grow. There are a lot of franchises out there that you can buy and they tell you how to do it. And it's basically just a template and roll with it. But they actually came across this company and my mom brought it to my dad and said, "Hey, I think that this is right up your alley." My dad is not a chemist. My dad has never been in the chemical manufacturing industry. Like I said, he was an accountant. So he is very good with numbers, which helps when you're a business owner because if
Hmm.
you can crunch those numbers and save pennies everywhere, it makes a huge difference. So they went for it and they put a contract down, and they were actually They weren't the first contract in line for the business. And my mom, being the realtor that she was, said, it doesn't matter. Like, let's just put our contract in and hope for the best. And here we are. So that is when they acquired Superior Products. When
Okay.
they bought the company, there were probably 5 or 6 formulas that came with the business,
Okay.
um, and one route truck. So one driver that drove
Okay.
around locally and hit the dealerships and, body shops, detail shops, all of those things right around our area.
Hmm.
So when my dad purchased the company, he knew that he wanted to grow and expand, but when it's really hard to get trucks on the road. And if you look at Automagic and Carbright, those guys have been around since early 1900s. They have hundreds of trucks on the road that have their set territories, and that's their business model. So when my dad bought the company, he kind of thought, well, my mom and dad, sorry, I always tease because my mom always gives me a hard time. She's like, it's mine too. But my dad is the one that's, heavily involved in running everything. And my mom is definitely the boss of the family though. So I gotta give her props. But when they bought the company, he was kind of thinking, okay, how can I grow and grow faster than trying to plant all of these route trucks, around the US. And that's when the auto parts chains kind of came into play. And he
Okay.
thought, O'Reilly Auto Parts, like, how can I make this happen? They're such a good fit. They focus on commercial business. So at O'Reilly's, they want 50% retail, 50% commercial. We are part of their commercial. And he thought this is just such a great fit. Why wouldn't they want to offer, you know, professional detailing chemicals when they're already going and calling on those accounts? They're calling on the
Hmm.
body shops, they're calling on the dealerships, they're selling them wiper blades and transmissions and fluids and all of this stuff. So it made sense to him to try to get our products into a company like that. And it was not easy. It was a lot of boots on the ground, or whatever that phrase is. But he just started at one location here, locally near us, and went in, talked to the store manager, was like, man, you really need to try this stuff out. It's so great. Give it a shot. And the store manager was like, yeah, man, all right, I'll try it. And so he did. He really liked it and he started carrying it. And so then my dad started going around to all of the places around that store to try to get them to start buying from that one location. And it kind of started, taking off a little bit. And so people were coming in and they were, buying from O'Reilly's. And again, this is years ago. So uh, one of the owners of O'Reilly's, I don't remember which one, but N. O'Reilly was going into their stores and just making sure that everything looked the way they wanted it to look.
Hmm.
Had everything, their corporate company, making sure everything looked good. And they actually saw this Superior stuff in here and they were like, what is this? Like, where did this come from? This isn't part of our floor plan. And the manager was like, oh yeah, this guy came in and he was selling this stuff and it, works really good. You should try it. And they were like, absolutely not. Get it out of here. Like, this is not part of the deal. You can't do that.
Hmm.
And so had a little setback, got kicked out of that one location, but didn't discourage him. And he kept going and he kept trying. And there were other, smaller auto part chains, like auto detailers, auto body shops that carried our stuff. And there was an organization that they were all involved in. One of the groups that we actually sold to was a Napa group, and it was the McKay Napa stores, which are here locally.
Okay.
And the McKay Napas were a part of this, automotive I can't come up with the right word, but it was a group of automotive company owners that were all involved, and they would talk about different things and what's going on in the industry. And it was one of the guys from the McKay Napa stores that was at one of those meetings with the group. And there was an O'Reilly's guy there. And he was talking up our stuff like, man, we sell so much of this. It's so great. You got to call Glenn and talk to him about the product. And at that point, the O'Reilly's guy was kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever. And the McKay, and so you said you were ADHD. I am too. So the McKay Napas, they're different than O'Reilly's. O'Reilly's are corporate stores. The Napas
Okay.
are jobbers or independently owned. So
Okay.
this was the McKay Napas, but Jim McKay was the owner of all of these stores. They are just Napa serviced stores. It's kind of confusing, but so they started talking, and the McKay guy calls my dad, and he's like, "Hey, I was really talking your stuff up with this guy, and I think he's interested. I think you're going to get a shot." And so my dad said, "Great, give me his information." And they did. And my dad reached out to the O'Reilly's guy, and he was kind of like, who are you? And my dad was
Oh,
like,
that's
oh,
got to feel good.
we were talking, I got this guy gave me your number. I'd love to come and make a presentation to you and just show you our stuff. And
Hmm.
he was kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever. Well, that goes back and forth for a while. And again, I don't want to ramble too much, but what ended up happening finally was we got the meeting with who we needed to speak with, and they agreed to a very small test market here for some local stores. So my dad had literally all hands on deck. We had our warehouse manager going out, making calls around like this, test market area. And like our secretary, like everybody, we're all like, everybody is doing what they can to try to bring as much business to those stores as we could to prove to them that it is a good fit. And we do think that, if you carry this product line, it's really going to sell itself. And it's kind of one of those things where when you get your foot in the door a little bit and we're loaded into one of their distribution centers, you're either in or you're not. And
Hmm.
so it ended up, working out. Everybody did a great job selling product. We've always had a lot of support from the store managers and the stores. And so from there, that has now, 25 years later, blossomed into where we are now. And, it's nationwide. We're in all the distribution centers. We've won so many awards within their organization, sales awards, just they say jump and we say how high, because they really were such an influence in getting us out there and getting our product out there and just giving us a chance. A
Hmm.
small, very small business, coming in saying, let us sell our commercial products through you. And we were in the distribution centers, so it was always out the back door. It was always sold through their TSMs, which are their territory sales managers. And it got so much momentum. Finally, I would say within the last 10 years is when it really started, just people started recognizing the brand. And honestly, when influencers, came
Hmm.
about and people could go online and start talking about the product, like we didn't even have to sell it. All we have to do is get it into their hands, and they have to try it. And then it's like, oh my gosh, this stuff is so great.
Yeah.
You have to check it out.
Yeah.
So that really, that really helped kind of skyrocket us within their organization. And it's been such a good fit. So, and then now I'm sure you're familiar, but we do have some retail items on the
Hmm.
shelf at O'Reilly's, which are ready to use versions of our concentrated commercial products. So sorry, that was kind of a lot, but
No, no. I didn't
that's
realize that it took so long for you guys, like how hard it is to get into an established retail store like that. Sometimes you just imagine it's as simple as a phone call, but that it can take sometimes years to really get to that place. You know,
Oh
I
yeah.
was I've been always the type of person that it's like, I don't have an O'Reilly's near me, and I wish I did, because sometimes your shipping costs are the number one frustration that I hear from people, because when you're shipping a gallon of anything, I mean, your gallons could be $11. That's cheap. But then you
Yeah.
get FedEx or UPS involved, and they're like, "We want $30 for a gallon." And they're like, "No, thanks. I'm not paying $40 for a gallon," even though they're probably still paying like $40, $50 a gallon for something that might give free shipping. It doesn't make sense. So, I mean,
Shipping, I oh, don't even get me started on shipping. It's so frustrating. And people look at us like we're jacking the price up on shipping. And it's not. It's heavy, it's corrosive, it's flammable, it's
yeah,
all of the things that they don't want to ship.
yeah,
And we do really overbuild our formulas. So, they're strong, and
yeah.
there's a lot of rules and regulations that go along with it, and it is what it is. Like, we literally are charging what UPS is charging us, but it's high.
Well,
It's pretty
you
high.
you gave me a good segue into what I wanted to ask next. So you said your dad, bought the company with like five formulas or products within it. What were those five? Do you remember?
So Coverall was
Okay.
the tried
Which
and
is like your
true.
number one.
It's the breadwinner from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And then there was Greenall, there
Okay.
was Perfection, there was White Wall 1000, Wire Wheel Cleaner.
Which I can't even get shipped to me
Oh,
because it's it's so
Super
strong.
Shine,
Super shine. Okay.
and yeah, and that's probably the OGs right there. I'm
I
sure
was
I'm
gonna
missing a
say those are the
couple,
ones
but
that are like tried and true. Like
yeah.
you can pretty much do every surface of a vehicle with those products. Throw in a little Dirt Buster and
Yeah.
Dark Fury and you're good
Oh,
to
Dirt
go.
Buster. There you go. That one too. Yeah.
Okay, so those were kind of your five staple ones, but like how do you guys make your products? I know you and I were talking behind the studio before everything started. I feel like there is such a heavy conversation nowadays with people wanting to know, how are these products made? We're starting to understand that there's really three big blenders, maybe four, in the US that create a lot of these chemicals. It's very rare to find a chemical manufacturer that actually makes their own products, like blends it in house. How do you guys make your products? If you can share. I know there's proprietary
Yeah.
information that you're probably like,
I mean, I'm not going to give you all our formulas, but I can tell you how we make them.
what's the brand
So
of the Dark Fury? We'll get to that in a second.
so yes, so formulating products is not easy. And we have raw material manufacturers
Hmm.
that we buy our products from.
Okay.
So there are, like, Harcross Chemicals is just an example in St. Louis, and we buy our raw materials from these companies.
Okay.
And with that, at one point in time, going back years, they actually had um, chemists on hand that would help with formulations. So, we're buying the raw materials from them for our current formulas. And
Hmm.
then we would go to them. And because, like I said, we're not a chemist, we need help with that. And so we would go to them and say, hey, this is what we're trying to create. Can you give us a base formula to work with? And we have an understanding about what the different raw materials do. But can you give us, a base formula that we can work with and tweak and work together on creating, a formula? And, they have proprietary stuff that they can't release to us. There's people that have formulas that they don't want to be shared. But for the most part, their chemists could recognize what we were trying to do and help us by saying, hey, why don't you try adding this into the formula and see if it does what you are looking for it to do? Or why don't you, play around with this? I think that your percentages are a little high on this. Maybe, go a little bit lower on this one. And My husband actually got heavily involved in the company. He was military. When he was done with the military, he worked at Superior. He doesn't anymore, but all good. It's okay. But when he was there, he really kind of took a liking to the formulation side of things.
Okay.
So he would work with the chemists, and he would be, online researching what everything does, how it works, how it blends together, because solvents don't mix with water. Some surfactants aren't going to blend with silicones. It's all, you have to have a very specific formula to get it to not separate, to get it to, clean what surface you want it to clean. So there's all these things that are involved. And he actually formulated Dark Fury. He formulated Aqua Gloss. He formulated Easy Shine.
Your husband.
My husband, yeah. And
Does he get kickbacks? Because that's pretty awesome.
no, he gets this.
That's a good deal. It's a good deal.
But yeah, so he really kind of moved the needle when it came to getting some new formulas out there for
Okay.
us. And as of now, the chemical manufacturers that we buy our raw materials from, we manufacture, we are blending, we are doing, so I'm calling them a chemical manufacturer as well, but they're manufacturing the raw materials that go into the formulas. So they don't really have those chemists anymore, just at your disposal.
Okay.
They do, but there's a lot of fees and
Yeah.
costs and things involved with it. Whereas, in the years previous, it was just kind of a courtesy as,
Hmm.
hey, as long as you buy these raw materials from us, we will help you build the formulas. But we actually have an independent chemist. I guess you could call him an independent contractor.
Okay.
He used to work for one of those companies. I won't say which one, but he's retired. He's on his own now, and he has been fantastic with helping us when we want to create new formulas. So that's kind of a little, an easy way to describe how we would make a formula. So, and another example, we have 5 things coming down the pipeline right now. We have a new wash and wax that's coming out.
Okay.
We have a ceramic spray coating that's coming out, and then a booster to go along with that. And
Okay.
then we also have a graphene ceramic spray coating and a booster to go along with that.
I'll have to
So
check
those
those
five
out.
those 5 things are coming down the pipeline. But to give you a little example of how difficult it is, we've been working on these formulas for 2 years,
Okay.
and things just happen. So, one of the raw materials in the formula that is a crucial raw material that we cannot do without, we placed an order for, a drum of it so that we could start, blending and just getting some samples and stuff out there. And they said, okay, no problem. It'll ship in 3 months. And we said, okay, we'll plan for that. 3 months rolls around, and we get a notification from the supplier, and they say, gosh, it's still not available yet. It'll be another 3 months. And we're like, okay. So then, that rolls around, and now, we're 2 years in, and the raw material has left the dock, and it is on its way. So it's very frustrating.
I can
We
imagine.
have an amazing director of operations at Superior right now. His name is Dave Self, and he has been hugely involved in working with the chemists and formulating. And he was ready to pull his hair out because we just all we want to do is release these products, and just every little hurdle, just we try to jump over it. We just keep getting, smacked back down. So, but we're good. We're rolling through, and the other thing with us is we're not going to put it out if it's not amazing, because we have a reputation to uphold,
I
and
mean, it's in the
all of
name.
it's in the name. All of our
They're
products are
not okay
superior.
products. They're not.
There, yeah. So we weren't going to just put something out because everybody else was putting out ceramic coating sprays at the time. We really want it to be good. And better than, the competition, and priced better than the competition. So that's another thing that we really pride ourselves on, is keeping our costs as low as we possibly can, so that, it's available to anybody.
Well, I mean, you're giving me like perfect segues because my next question that I was going to ask is how do you innovate with a saturated market? And I think you kind of answered that in a way, but like knowing now that you kind of have I don't want to say a retired chemist, but you have someone that is working with you, but it doesn't sound like you have someone like on deck, like a mad scientist in the background just whipping together all these formulas. You guys obviously have some tried and true stellar products that have been around for years. And I don't want to say that you're always putting out new products. That's not something that you guys have noticed you don't do a ton of. Like every SEMA, most companies, they're releasing like 2 or 3 new products. That's not something you guys do a ton of. And I mean, it sounds like shipping has just been the biggest issue that you can't get your hands on the actual products. But
Yeah,
that
that's a
being
big one.
said, like when there is just so much availability of products on the market and you guys only want to put out products that are really good, how do you come up with something new or how do you innovate in such a saturated market?
I think people would get a kick out of the behind the scenes that goes on at Superior Products, because, again, going back to Dave, like, he is our director of operations, and we all wear so many hats at that place. And he would get samples of all of these different raw materials in. And again, a base formula that may or may not even work. And he's back there, in our lab, literally just mixing things together and trying this, and then taking it out and testing it on cars, and then coming back and, trying something else and taking it out and, testing it on cars. So the innovation is really just, hope it works, because we are, we're working with new things, new raw materials all the time. We've never worked with the graphene before. Our ceramic coating is great, but a ceramic spray is a completely different way that you have to build that formula, because now it's easy to use, but it still has to last, and it still has to, shine and protect and do all of the things. So, I think that the graphene, was, we knew that we wanted to put out, a graphene based ceramic coating, but we didn't think that it was going to take this long. So here we are. But it's taken some time, but it's going to be worth the wait, I promise.
Okay. So we've talked a little bit about some of your like basic, I don't want to say basic, but your OG chemicals. What would you guys say are some of your best sellers? For those that maybe have never tried superior products, what are some of your best sellers that you recommend they try out for the first time?
I think that right now, I think that that's changed over the years. 10 years ago, the bestsellers might be a whole different list. But right now, probably our top selling items are obviously Coverall. That's number one. Dark Fury is, right there, neck and neck. Aqua Gloss, Formula 4 Spray Wax. Let's see. Green All and Pink Perfection are always going to make the list. They're just, tried and true. I think probably right now, I would say those are probably our top sellers. I could be
Okay.
missing something in there, but um, those, and then the soaps, Dirt Buster and Cherry Foam, they kind of battle as to which one is more popular at the time. But I think that this new wash and wax that's coming out is probably going to take the lead, because it's a really good formula, and it just helps. It's thick, it's sudsy, it's great in a foam cannon, and it really helps to enhance the shine of the car. So, bring whatever wax is currently onto the surface, bring it to the top, and really just kind of make it slick and smooth and shiny and clean, and it's a good one. So
Will it
yeah,
will it be durable protection? Like, if you have
I
nothing
mean,
on your vehicle and you use this, is this gonna be just, like, maybe
it's
1 or 2
still a
days?
soap,
Okay.
I mean, it's still it is still a soap.
Let's be
But
realistic.
yeah,
You still have to wax your car.
there's it's not that easy. But as far as protection, I mean, you're gonna get at least 7 days, but
Okay.
it's 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 meant to be a soap that enhances what's on the surface of the vehicle.
Okay. I appreciate honesty. I feel like some companies, they're like, "Yeah, you don't have to wax your car ever again, just use our soap." And I'm like, "But the next time I go through the automatic car wash, it's completely removed." So,
Oh gosh, don't do that.
what would you
Don't go through
say?
the automatic car wash.
Oh, I know. You're not a detailer, are you? I mean, you're learning, but
Oh gosh, no.
I've seen you do some videos. You're
Wax
getting there.
on, wax off.
You look good while
Uh,
you're doing it. That's the important. What would you say are some of your most underrated products that people really just they don't talk about it and they should? Or maybe the formulas just have so much within them, but they're just really underrated.
I don't know if it's underrated, but I really like Aquagloss. Aquagloss is one of my favorite products that we have. It smells really great, and everybody loves scents in their formulas. But it's just really cool because you can control the shine. There's you can't please everyone, and there's people out there that want super high gloss, and then there's ones that want semi matte, and then matte. And it's like, how do we appease everyone? And
Mhm,
with Aquagloss, you can cut it down, you can dilute it. You can dilute it 1 to 1, you can dilute it 2 to 1, you can dilute it 4 to 1. When you dilute it a little bit further, let's say 4 to 1, it is going to separate in the bottle, but there's nothing wrong with that. Shake it up really well before you go to use it again, and it's going to protect against UV. You can get that high shine, you can get that matte shine. You can use it on the dash, you can use it on your steering wheel, you could use it on your seats and it won't hurt. You can use it on the side panels. You can use it on your tires. I just think it's so versatile and it works so well that I mean, it's one of my favorites. So I don't know if it's necessarily underrated, but it's it's a good one in my opinion. And I mean, another one that I think if people at Superior heard me say this, they would be like, "What is she talking about?" But like one of the old formulas, White Wall 1000,
mhm.
it's a rubber cleaner. There's really nothing cool about that, but it is so inexpensive. It's literally the probably just the least expensive thing we have, and you can cut that stuff 4 to 1, and you can I'm looking at like municipalities like buses or RVs or ooh, actually RVs, we could go to that for a second because Road Warrior, now that stuff is amazing for buses and RVs and things like that, so
Black streaks, yeah.
maybe that's a good underrated product that we could mention, because you can use it in high pressure equipment, whereas like Muscle Magic or one of those super high caustic products, you can't run those through equipment because it will chew through the metal, the springs and stuff in there.
Mhm,
Road Warrior is safe for anything. It can be used as a pre-soak. It can be used for a black streak remover. It can be used as a rubber cleaner. That one you can dilute. I mean, you could dilute it up to 10 to 1 as just a spray, to remove black streaks. Or if you're using it in, a high pressure system or a foam cannon or whatever, you can cut it even further. It's not going to be sudsy. It's not a sudsy soap. It's more of a degreaser soap, which is what
mhm.
we call it. But yeah, that's probably a good underrated one.
I know you told me years ago about this tip with Road Warrior to use it on gutters, and it works so good to
Yeah,
clean
that's a good one
gutters. Like,
too.
I'm the weird person that's up on a ladder with a magic eraser, like cleaning my gutters, and that stuff works really well. You can just foam it on and use like a normal towel. You don't have to like go to town,
Yeah.
but it works really
Signing
well.
on your house.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would work. It is. It's definitely universal.
So I'm going to ask you some questions about your products, and I want you to kind of tell me which I should choose for what scenario. So, or which you would
Ooh,
recommend. If I want to
like a
full,
game.
okay. And this is just impromptu. I'm just thinking of it. I didn't really have anything scripted. So there may be two. That's the only one. But if I were to foam a vehicle down with a product as like a pre-soak to try to go after road film, bugs and tar, just soften heavier dirt before I do a contact wash, which would you rather or which would you recommend I use more, Road Warrior or Dark Fury?
It depends. Are you going to follow the directions? Are you going to go rogue and do something that you're not supposed to do?
What do you mean? Clarify.
I feel like Dark Fury gets a bad rap
We're totally
because
gonna have to do a total sesh on Dark Fury. People don't understand that product.
no,
It's
and
a
if you
pH of
use
like 13 or 14, isn't it?
it's yeah, I think it's up there. We're
It's
we're
killer.
working on we're working on that because it's almost a little too high. But
It'll burn your
yeah,
flesh. It will
you
burn your flesh if you get it on it.
it's always misuse of the chemical, and then we get a bad rap for it. And it's like, just use it the right way. And so,
What is the right way then? Let's
I think between the two, Dark Fury is going to be more aggressive, and Road Warrior would be more user friendly that you just
Mhm.
can't mess anything up with.
Okay.
But with Dark Fury, if you're buying it commercially, if you're buying it by the gallon or the 5 gallon, that is a concentrate. Dilute it 4 to 1, dilute it 6 to 1, dilute it 10 to 1. Don't use it full strength. It is not meant to be used full strength.
I
Rule
do it
number
5 to
one.
1. I like it
Great.
5 to 1. Yeah, but always dilute.
Rule, yeah. Rule number two, never spray it on a dry surface.
Or in
Don't
the
spray it
sun.
on
Just
or in the
shade.
sun.
Yeah.
Shade, cool, wet surface. Like, you spray it down with water, spray your diluted chemical. And then rule number three, never let it dry on the surface. So if you follow all of those rules, then it's going to work great. And you're literally not going to have to do hardly anything because the chemical is going to do what it's supposed to do. It's going to wipe the bugs right off the front of the car. It's going to clean the rim and make it sparkle. Don't use it on an aftermarket rim or polished
Yeah.
aluminum because it will etch the aluminum. But anything chrome is fine. Anything clear coated is fine. Most factory rims come with a clear coat, so you're good to go. But just follow the rules. Don't come at us and say, that stained my car when you sprayed it on the car and it was hot and dry and your phone rang and somebody texted you and then you're over there talking and then now it's like dry and then you're trying to scrape it off and it's just like, yeah, of course you did.
I
So
love working with Dark Fury. I struggled with it in the beginning until I really understood those principles. And once you figure out, always, and you don't want just like a fine mist, soak your panel. And then when you
yeah,
spray it on, don't do this like the straight jet. You want the fine mist pattern and you want to spray it evenly. You don't want to have it like psst, and then psst. You literally want a consistent spray pattern on wherever you're spraying it because if you have kind of like a random shot, you'll have what looks like ghosting. Now, can you explain to me, like, one, why is it brown? I know you told me years ago it's the surfactants within it. Like, why is it brown? And what causes the ghosting or the staining? It's not staining from the brown, it's staining from the strong chemical within it. But like, can you kind of answer those two things for me? Because I know everyone's thinking it who's used it.
there is one particular raw material that goes into the formula, and it is a very dark brown powder. Of course, I'm not going to say exactly what that raw material
It's
is.
cocoa.
It's
It always
Coca-Cola.
makes
We're adding soda into our tanks as we're formulating everything. But there's one raw material in there, and it is a dark brown powder, and it does. It does help kind of bring all of the other products in the formula together. So it's a binding agent, I guess you could say, and helps just make sure that everything else that's in that formula stays mixed together properly and
Okay.
doesn't separate. So it's a chocolate brown powdered raw material. You know, your chemical blenders can go out and try to Google and search what that might be. But yes, and the staining, the etching, all of that it's a very high pH cleaner, and it's strong, and it's not meant to be used full strength. So I think that is, we do struggle a little bit because our formulas are strong.
Mhm.
And if you're a professional and you know how to use it and you use these things the right way, then great. Like, our products are fantastic for you because they're inexpensive and they are going to work better than the competition, guaranteed. But there are people out there that want it to be quick and they want it to be easy and they want a shortcut, and they decided that they want to be a detailer for the weekend, and then next weekend they're working somewhere else, and they just they don't know how to use it, and
Mhm.
they use it the wrong way, and then we get comments on social media about how meh, 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 meh. Well,
Well, there is a fix for it, folks. If it does happen to, I don't want to say stain the paint, but etch the paint, I think that's a better term for it. In my mind, what has happened is because it is a degreaser, essentially, correct? It's a strong degreaser. It has pulled some of the oils out of the paint. It's actually dried it out. Like when we put Dawn on our hands, or a degreaser on our hands, it dries our skin out. It does the same thing to your paint. And so the fix for that, folks, it's unfortunate sometimes, but you got to put a quick polish on the panel. It removes it. It didn't burn the clear coat. It didn't damage it. You just got to put oil back into it. So even something like 3D Speeds, super quick zip. There have been a couple times on customers' cars where it got a little too hot on the hood and I sprayed it, and then I see little ghosting things and I'm like, oh crap. I just do a quick zip. We're good to go. Easy, easy solution. So we don't need to like call Superior and say you owe me a paint job or anything like that. You
we've
just,
gotten lots of those calls.
I can imagine.
And we always win because it was always due to improper use. And nobody wants to admit that, but it's just, you have to be really careful with Dark Fury, especially because it's strong.
Yeah. Now, the bottles that you sell that are in the spray bottles, is that diluted?
Yes, 4 to 1.
Okay. So that's safe, ready to use.
No, actually, we've cut that back even further.
Okay.
It might be at 6 to 1 now,
Okay.
just because it's really strong.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, you could 6 to 1, 8 to 1, 10 to 1. It's going to perform really well for you, even at those dilution ratios. So the point with that chemical is, you could buy a gallon of it, you could put it in an empty 5 gallon bucket, you could fill it up with water, and you've just made a ready to use 5 gallon container of one of the most effective bug and wheel cleaners that you're probably going to have in your wash bay.
I'm looking it up. So it's $24 a gallon of a concentrate, and you can dilute that. I do it 5 to 1. You're saying even like 6 to 1, 10 to 1. That's huge amounts of value for people who, and I use it. I mean, I'm not trying to sell, products. I probably could work for you guys at this point, but if you're looking
Come on
for
over.
tires, wheels, and wheel wells, engine bays, door jams, I clean them touchless with this. If you have like work vehicles where they have the vinyl floor mats, you can
Mhm.
spray it, drill brush, extract those vinyl floorboards. I've actually, when my husband used to work for a company, his boss used to bring all of the plumbers' vans over to me to detail when like someone would quit and they would hire someone new. And if you've ever cleaned or seen the inside of a plumber's van, it's disgusting. Like all the little shit that they're stepping in, it's just on the floorboards. And I didn't even want to touch it. So I'm like, we're going to spray Dark Fury, drill, and extract. I didn't even have to like wipe it up or throw away a microfiber, and it cleaned it beautifully. And I was like, I love this stuff. But I mean, it is such a great degreaser. road film, bugs. I mean, if you guys haven't tried it, with caution, but we're giving you all the tools for success at this point. And
I probably shouldn't say this story because it might make me look bad, but I've done all the jobs at Superior, right? Like when I was little, I was labeling fragrances. When I got out of high school, I ran off to California for a couple of years and then, found my way back home. And then I ran a route. So I actually drove around in the truck for a couple of years and like pulled up to the, detail shops and dealerships and like opened my code up, and was like, what can I sell ya? And then that turned into being a sales rep for O'Reilly's. So I would go out with their territory sales managers and we would, call on accounts and we would go to different places. And one of the places that we went to was this RV park. And, people are either very warm and welcoming or they're just, I don't know if I can cuss on here, but they're just not friendly.
oh, you can
And
cuss. I mean,
so
I try to keep it limited, but you do
we'll
you.
keep it PG. And so we go into this account, and the guy's kind of being a smart whatever. And it's an RV place, and he's like, all right, well, go clean that RV over there in the corner and show me, what this product will do. And again, Dark Fury, like not Road Warrior. I don't know why I wasn't using Road Warrior, but for whatever reason I was using Dark Fury. And I was like, okay, so I walk over there and it's like an RV from like 1960. And I don't know that it had ever been cleaned. And it was fresh paint. It wasn't even clear coated. It was just like paint that was like chipping off and of the RV. And, I grabbed like a 16-ounce bottle because when we would go on sales calls with O'Reilly's, I would always have in my trunk like all of these 16-ounce bottles that were concentrates. Again, I'm not even following my own rules here. And so I'm like, yeah, okay. And so I spray, we called it Rage at that time. So
I know. That's how I knew it.
I sprayed
It's
Rage
all
on
the
it
rage.
and I like I wiped it across and I literally like just took the white paint with me.
I
And
was
I
going to
was
say.
just like, let's just put that down there for a rainy day. And he kind of chuckled, and he was like, I'm just kidding, girl. I knew that never work on that old piece of, And I was like, man, dude, like my heart's pumping. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to pay for this, $50 RV. And, but yeah, so you just follow the rules, when you use the product and don't ever spray it full strength on a painted surface that doesn't have a clear coat on it.
Well,
Lesson learned.
I'm not trying to intimidate people from Dark Fury. It's I think one of your best sellers. I know Coverall is probably what your number one seller. It's a
Yeah.
solvent-based tire dressing, correct?
Yes.
If you have knobby tires, like you're gonna love it. Like Jeeps, big trucks, they absolutely love it. I don't have an O'Reilly's near me. Have you guys ever thought about doing Advanced Auto or Pet Boys or anything like that? I gotta
Well,
get you local so I don't have to
do
deal
you,
with shipping costs.
do you have a Napa near you?
It uh, I don't
So
think we
we're
do.
we're 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 in
My Napa
Napa.
is like really sad. Like every time I go in there, there's pretty much just like Wizards metal polish. Like there's like three things on the shelf. That's it. It's very slim
Well, hey,
pickings.
soon
I
to
go
be
there for
four.
wiper blades. That's about
So
it.
so you can we're working through the pipeline of all of the Napa stores. We're getting our products into all of their distribution centers right now, so it will be available at all of those. AutoZone, we've got Coverall on the shelf as a retail item there. We're trying to play around with some commercial stuff. It may be available online, but
Walmart.
uh,
Come
ugh.
on. You would crush at Walmart. Are you killing
I
me?
no way. I can't afford Walmart. Like we're cheap. They're like cheap. We couldn't even. And the rules that they have, like
That's true.
terms, payment terms, you don't even know. But Advance is a funny story because I tried to, get us into Advance and I don't know anybody within their organization. And so basically it's been years, but you have to write them a letter. And you can imagine where my letter went. directly probably into the trash if it even made it to anyone. So, I wrote out this big long letter as to why they should bring Superior and yada yada yada. But so right now, unfortunately, just O'Reilly's is where it's going to be for sure. Napa coming soon. AutoZone, maybe.
I saw this question. I'm just throwing this out there, Jamie and Eddie, in case you're watching. The people have asked. I'm just saying. I got
You
Jillian's
mentioned
number. I got Jillian's number. I can get it for you.
you mentioned some kind of candy company. Like what were
Oh,
you talking about there?
okay. So, Car Candy. They are a Florida-based company. They have Dark Thunder. No, Chocolate Thunder. Chocolate Thunder,
Sounds
which
naughty.
is they have obviously have a candy theme. Um, I've only worked with. I literally like got a sample set of their stuff like several years ago, and it literally looked identical to Dark Fury or Rage at the time. And I in my head was like, oh, they must like either private label or they mix for them or you mix for them or something like that. And I even asked you about that like earlier this
Ye-
summer because I was like, Chocolate Thunder, like,
yeah.
do you guys
Yeah.
make it or do they make your product? And you were like, never even heard of them. Like,
You know what?
what are the odds?
So I have to be careful what I say, but we had a distributor in the Florida area, and he had a truck. He drove around. He sold our product, and come to find out, he was doing some really shady things behind our back that we weren't aware of. And then we became aware of them, and he obviously is no longer a distributor for us. So I'm wondering
Hmm.
if if maybe, I mean, he wouldn't know the formula. He wouldn't know how we make it. Like he would never know any of that. But I don't know. I mean, there may or may not be something there. But it's odd that this company is in Florida, and we had that driver there that wasn't the greatest of. I mean, he wasn't even an employee. The route drivers are independent. They're
Yeah.
they're their own job. So they place orders from us. We ship them the chemicals and they sell it. So but no, we don't. We do private label. We do blend for some people. Not that one.
Okay. Okay. And they don't blend for you, obviously.
No.
But I mean, that just goes to show you, I think a lot of times we just kind of make assumptions that a lot of these products are all, since we are all learning about big blenders and how some of these chemicals that we literally would die on the hill for saying they're the best products ever, there's another company that makes something that is pretty much the exact same thing, just a different scent, maybe a little bit more this, a little bit more
A
that.
different dye, different
Yeah,
scent.
and
Yeah.
that, a lot of times, I had him on my show, Ivan LaCroix, I don't know if you know him. He was on the show a couple of weeks ago, but, it's basically like a recipe, like a cookie recipe, and, they're pretty basic, but, you can add a little bit more chocolate chip, a little bit more flour, different things just to kind of make it so I
An
feel like
all-purpose cleaner is an all-purpose cleaner. A
yeah,
degreaser is a degreaser. A soap is a soap.
yeah.
It just goes into all of the ways that you can tweak it to make it better and to make it perform better, to make it more protection, whatever product you're
Mhm.
working on at that time. But yeah, it is. It's like baking.
Well, and I mean, I'm not gonna
Just don't eat
say
it or drink it, please.
so anyway, so you kind of answered my question as far as the whole like car candy, how your products are made. I think I want to answer some of the questions that everyone has been asking in the background. So we have
Oh, that's a good one.
dilution ratios. When did they start? Anything new coming out? I'm gonna assume, Keith,
So
that you're wanting to know like when did you start like implementing dilution ratios versus ready to use? I don't know. Keith, maybe you can. expand upon that. But
Um,
as far as anything new coming out, you did share you've those 5 coming up.
yes, we have 5 new products coming out: a wash and wax, a ceramic coating spray, and then a ceramic coating booster spray to kind of pair with that, and then a graphene ceramic coating spray, and then the graphene booster that will go hand in hand with that one.
Okay.
Dilution ratios, that's always a popular one. And my recommendation to you is to start at 4-to-1 with any of our concentrated products and adjust as needed. Now, even Dark Fury, we say Dark Fury, dilute 4-to-1, dump a gallon in a 5-gallon bucket, fill it up with water. You've got it ready to use. Dark Fury can be used at 4-to-1 as long as you follow the rules. So, I think that a good rule of thumb is just you can you're not gonna dilute it the wrong way, but I would always recommend starting at 4-to-1. And then, on some products, like if it's Greenall and it's a heavily soiled carpet that is, just nasty, and you do 4-to-1 and it's not doing what you need it to do, then take it to 1-to-1 and, use it from there. Zap It is another really great product. That formula was actually, we were trying to make something else and we accidentally made that and it worked really, really good. So with that, we don't recommend diluting it, right? It's green on the bottom, it's white on the top. Shake it up, before you use it and spray it on your surface. So if it's a concentrated product, start at 4-to-1 and take it from there. You can probably go more. If the job is really bad, then you may need to cut the dilution back a little bit.
So CS Auto Tech and Detailing said, I'd like to see them have better product use description. I see too many times where people are using Dark Fury or other APCs or degreasers as interior cleaners. And I will say your APCs typically, like your Pink Perfection, I absolutely love on interiors.
I've always loved that
It
one.
is a soap-based interior. It is okay, so if any of you like P&S Express Interior Detailer Cleaner, Pink Perfection cleans, I think, better than that. P&S kind of leaves behind just like a nice satin sheen behind, and Pink Perfection, I think, does that. I don't have to use dressings afterwards. I typically don't use dressings. I know you like aqua gloss on interior. I don't like dressings because to me, sometimes they can gas off and leave streaks on the glass. They can attract dust sometimes and just leave behind fingerprint.
Ooh,
Or when you open the door in the rain, if you have a dressing and then you get all the rain marks. So I don't normally dress. If customers want to, I've given you a clean surface, have at it. I clean more than anything. But Pink Perfection, it cleans and it leaves behind a dressed appearance. And that's what I like about it. But it doesn't stain. I've done it in direct sunlight and it works fantastic. And I mean, I've used Dark Fury only on rubber floor mats on interiors, but that's the only thing that I would ever. And I extract after. I'm not leaving that residue there because it is really caustic. You don't want to leave that on a surface where someone's skin could come in contact. So make sure you flush it. But yeah, I
okay,
mean,
I'm going
and
to bounce around here really quick. Aqua
okay,
gloss repels dust. I
does
forgot
it?
to make that point. It
Okay.
is ions, negative, positive. Boom, repels dust. So will help with that problem. With the APCs, if anyone is ever complaining that there is a white streaking going on, it's too strong. You have too much chemical in there. Cut it back even further. As far as the updated product descriptions, man, I hear you. They're old. They're like years and years old. And we are working with a new marketing agency. We're coming out with a new website. We have all of these things coming down the pipe. And when we get that finalized, all of that is going to be changed and updated. But let's talk about a small family business for a little bit. We are a small family business and we all wear a lot of hats.
How many employees
Everybody
do you guys
is
have?
um so in the office we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the office.
Okay.
And in the warehouse, I think we're at 15 now.
Awesome.
So, but there's probably 4 of us that are doing the descriptions, doing the marketing, doing the formulating, doing all the stuff. And it sometimes things just get put on the back burner. And unfortunately, descriptions was one of them. But yes, we are working on that. So stay
Well,
tuned.
I will say this, you guys are coming out with some really great content on your YouTube channel. Like, you've done a fantastic job of just keeping it very simple, explaining everything. Like, if you ever have questions about their products, I would point people over to your YouTube channel. And I know you guys are continuously rolling out products, but yeah, I've learned a lot even from your YouTube channel. So keep up the good work. They're really great and they're
we
really
have
well
an
done.
amazing we have an amazing videographer that we
Yeah,
work with, and he
I'm kind of
comes
jealous.
in and he's fantastic. Stevie has been detailing for us, and he has, his detail company here in town. I think Chelsea should probably make a visit to Superior and maybe do some detailing in our wash bay and do a little featured segment with you. But it's been, yeah, we have great support there, and that has kind of taken a little bit of a back burner as well, because we've had so many other things that have been going on. And I know that it doesn't seem like it, but it's a lot. We're trying to get everything into Napa system. We're trying to, I mean, there's a lot going on, and we're meeting with our videographer next week to go over 2025 and really figure out how we want to plan out our content for the next year. So if anyone has any suggestions that they want to see, please throw them our way, and we will try to accommodate.
How have you guys handled keeping your prices so low despite the economy and all the prices for everything going up?
So I think that goes with commercial versus retail. So we don't have a ton of the overhead that you would have as a retail company. Retail companies have a lot of small sizes that they're trying to pump out a bunch of. So they've got a lot of equipment that's involved in that. We don't have that. We have our mixing tanks, and then we have a few different lines. One line that is catered to canning down our smaller sizes, like our 8 ounces and our 16 ounces. And then another one that just runs gallons, 24/7. And then our fives, we fill directly from the tanks. So it's we try to keep our overhead as low as we possibly can. We try to keep our costs down that way. So we're producing, we've always excelled on the commercial, not the retail. I mean,
You
I
guys
don't want
do
to bet.
car wash industry. Like, you provide chemicals for car wash companies, correct?
We do, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a different game. The car wash industry is really tough to get into, because a lot of the car wash chemical manufacturers, they also have a team of people that maintain the car wash equipment, and
Mhm.
we don't do that. We provide the chemicals. So the car washes that we're providing chemicals for are most of the time independently owned car washes that have people in house that maintain their equipment and don't rely on their chemical suppliers for that. But yes, we do. Our bread and butter is commercial, not retail. We want to cater to professionals like yourself, and then selling through O'Reilly's to their commercial accounts, dealerships that are buying drums, and detail shops that are buying gallons and fives, and body shops that are buying gallons and fives, municipalities, places like that.
So this is a good question from X6M Ghost. What are you guys doing to ensure your products are evolving in terms of being safe for the user? Are you guys very health conscious to begin with, like Cleantel, for example? That's just another brand of company that's come out with products that they're just more
They're
organic.
green.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, we don't have a choice. We have to follow very strict rules and regulations that are brought on by the government. So, as far as evolving into green products, we're constantly looking at our formulas to make sure that they meet all of the required standards for what it would need to be in the chemical industry, but it's very, very regulated. So, you know, yes, there are products that are corrosive and flammable and, you know, hazardous, but we can't sell water. So it it comes down to, you know, we just have to be very careful with what we put into our formulas and make sure that we are compliant with all of the rules and regulations.
Can you even make products, I mean, like Dark Fury, that don't have forever chemicals in them or non-friendly chemicals?
Yeah, no, nothing has any forever chemicals or anything like that in it. We wouldn't be able to be on the shelf at O'Reilly's if our products did have things like that in it.
So
So,
you have PFA free.
yes.
Very cool. I don't know what that means. I know the forever chemicals, everyone's saying like they're gonna kill us at this point, you know.
It's tricky
When
because
I'm due to die,
it's
I'm due to die. Like I have a date and a time that Jesus is gonna call me up. So I mean, I try to be careful, but I don't stress so much about it. Some of these people are just like, I mean, PFAs are in our band-aids. They're in everything. I'm like, okay, nothing's safe.
it's so difficult and it's tricky because it's different rules and regulations for the levels of things that you can have in your formulas per industry. So what's in the automotive industry is definitely different than what's in the cosmetic industry. That's different that's in the food industry, you know. So it's a very gray area. And I will say that we maintain, you know, very, very well in the automotive industry and what our rules and regulations are on how to keep those products in check.
So enthusiast writes, I've never tried Superior. What's 3 items I need to try? I don't know if I could keep it to 3. What would I mean, you kind of shared Dark Fury coverall. What was your third one? The green
Yeah,
all
I
or
mean,
pink perfection?
that's a tricky one too, because what are you trying to do? You know, like zap it, try zap it. That is the most amazing stain remover ever. You can use it in your house. You can
I
use it in your car. You
Can I
can.
correct you? I think your heavy duty does it all enzyme cleaner works better than Zap It.
Well, that's it's got more stuff in it. So,
Yeah,
you know, it's got the enzyme-based cleaners
it's
and raw materials
killer
in
on
there.
interiors. When I
Yeah.
have roached interiors, sometimes Zap It I reserve for like general maintenance cleanups, you know, like your day to day. When I have someone come in that's like, it's bad. When a customer tells me it's bad, it's bad. When they tell me it's not that bad, it's still pretty bad.
Yeah.
But heavy duty does it all enzyme cleaner. It's similar to Zap It. Like Zap It, you have to
Mhm.
shake it because it'll separate.
Yeah.
But
It's
it
a
has,
similar
yeah,
formula.
it has that citrus scent that you love from Zap It, but it cleans so much better. What I love most about it is it rinses quickly. It doesn't leave behind a lot of residue. Like I can quickly
Yeah.
see. I don't know if you've ever like done like nasty interiors and stuff, but when you're extracting and you actually
My
see,
interior is the nasty interior that I take to the detailer and I'm like, "Help me."
so I'm gonna give you like sometimes when you're extracting a lot of body oils and things like that, it'll kind of have, and this is kind of gross, but like a creamy look when you're extracting it. You'll see kind of like a milky residue as you're pulling up all the body oils and dirt. And when I use your heavy duty enzyme cleaner, it pulls that so quickly and then like instantly goes to like clean water. So I know it's pulling out the dirt quickly, but I don't have a ton of foam. And when you don't have a ton of foam, that means I don't have to extract as much to remove that residue, and then the seats will dry faster. So for those of you that
That's a
have
good
never tried it, I I think it's
It's
better
a
than Zap
newer
It.
one. That one we probably formulated a few years ago. So that one is that's a newer formula, but yeah, no, that's a good one. I mean, okay, top three like soap. I always go for Dirt Buster, all-purpose cleaner. You know, Pink Perfection is we'll go with that one. And then I said Aqua Gloss already, but you know, soap, interiors, and dressing if you want to kind of very easily cover all of your bases.
If you did Dirt Buster to wash, it does a great job at washing. Use Pink Perfection to clean tires and wheels. It actually works really good for tires and wheels.
Mhm.
You can even use that for
Yeah.
door jams for like degreasing. It's not a heavy duty, it won't stain. Interiors, you can clean all your plastics with it. You can actually use Pink Perfection to clean seats with it. Might foam a little bit more.
Yes, it is a little more
But
sudsy.
and then you dress everything with your aqua glass however you want. So basically those 3 products you could do a general maintenance on your vehicle with. So
Yep.
you covered your bases well on that one. I would concur. I mean, you own the company, so you're one of the owners. So, let's see here. Is Dark Fury or Superior Products, are they available in Canada?
Not yet, but O'Reilly's is getting ready to migrate up north, and where they go, we go. So coming soon.
Awesome. And I mean, I'm just saying if Thor were to sell Superior Products, they'd be available in Canada because Thor's available in Canada, so maybe. Um, yeah, I'm just throwing it out there. You answered this question already. How does Superior keep prices so low? Just because, and I mean, a lot of that is marketing and overhead and things like that. And with you guys being a smaller company,
Well, like
um,
I mentioned, the retail companies, your McGuire's and your 3Ms, their marketing budget is 100 times what ours is. We do not have a lot of money thrown into marketing, and we're working on it. We probably should be a little bit better with that, but we have so many people talking about our stuff that it's been great. You guys have really been our marketing for us, and we appreciate every single one of you that grabs a bottle and tries it and uses it and videos yourself doing it, because that is another way that we keep everything so low. Our general overhead is lower than the retail manufacturers.
so where do you see Superior Products in the next 5 years? That can be kind of our final question here as we wrap things up.
Oh man, I would really like to see everything go smoothly with this Napa deal. So getting into all of the distributions streamlessly, and getting the product out there available, just more readily available. A more stronger presence on the floor at O'Reilly's would be fantastic. We've been fighting for a little small commercial area in their, on their storefront. All of our stuff is in the back of the store, and it's available. Just all you have to do is ask the store manager for it, and they walk back and they grab it. If they don't have it there, they pull it from their distribution center, and it's, there sometimes same day. So I would love to see, maybe a little more presence with our commercial products on the floor. Again, just more easily available to get your hands on. And then, we're constantly working on distribution. So the more places that we can get our product into and get it into the hands of the consumer, obviously the better.
Well, I'm trying to do everything I can on my end.
Keep
Well,
going, girl. You're doing great. We appreciate you.
I only do it because I believe in them. Like for me, someone who works from home, profit is a big deal, because that's braces, that's food on the table. And, I have certain premium products that I kind of like to spoil myself with, but like day-to-day products that I need to like just get the job done, that's where you guys always come in clutch. So,
Oh, another sneak peek is we are working with a formulation chemist on a new line of waxes and compounds as well. So look for that in the next 5 years too.
okay. Well, and I'm just throwing this out there. If you guys are ever in the process of developing products and you want feedback as you're in the midst of developing them, I would be happy to give you guys feedback and then even give you some other detailers recommendation as far as to send, because I have a lot of friends that love to do that type of stuff. So if you ever just need people boots on the ground to test a product and give you feedback, I'd love to help. So
Don't let me forget. Send me an email and I will send you the 5 new products that we have coming out.
okay. And hopefully you guys will stay tuned. There's actually a QR code in the top corner of this thing. If you guys want to check, just make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Attention to Details with Chelsea. Stay tuned for those videos, because as soon as you send me those products, I'll try to test them out and review them for you guys. But thank you, Jillian. I know this was a little bit of a longer night. I was trying to keep it around an hour, but we had a lot of fun stuff to talk about. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed getting to know a little bit more about Superior Products, some of the ins and outs with their chemicals and different things like that. So thank you, Jillian, for sharing your expertise. and your evening with me. And next week, I'm excited. We're going to be actually having Andreas Schwarzinger on the show. He is prominent in many detailing Facebook groups, and he's the guy that literally you ask a question and he will write an essay giving you an answer. Very knowledgeable. I kind of want to know, like, how does he know so much? So we're going to have him on the show and pick his brain. So if you guys have any questions for Andreas, make sure you guys tune in. I think he's going to be staying up in the wee hours of the morning because he's actually over in Europe. But thank you so much, Jillene, for coming on.
Thank you, Chelsea. I had a
And
blast.
me too. Always a fun time. And I hope you guys nothing but success in the next year.
Thank you.
And we'll see you guys next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over at the Thor YouTube channel. Thank you for tuning in for all of your questions. We'll see you guys next week in the next podcast. Have a great night.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks.